I had a guy that liked me so much he put socks in his shoes.
Oh, that's really cute.
Ronaldo.
So he can be tall?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cute.
But no.
But no.
But no.
Welcome to Women with Intent.
Woohoo!
A podcast by me, Sarah Toulouse,
Shayna Sophia Styles.
where we discuss topics that are both hard, soft, and tea-worthy, and we have intentional conversations and opinions around them. So let's go ahead and get started. Baby.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Yeah, I really like when you say it. Let's get into it. Yeah. This.
First, do we know we're missing a new?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, that did.
Okay, so call me all the way out, damn. So
don't let it thing you. You keep on pushing. Just put.
I thought I was focused right
like here, like W. Wait, look.
So
look,
anyway,
look. That's it. That's it. All through the conversation, like, how you doing, huh? Well, I'm fine. How are you?
You are missing a nail. I'm sorry. Okay, so for today's topic, I wanted to talk about being in your fives or your 5-0s.
Okay.
Because I feel really passionate about this because it's like been like kind of showing up very presently. But
all right. So how about I ask you how you're doing? Because you would ask me how I'm doing.
Yes, let's switch roles.
Yeah. So let's just do that. So
you want to start from the top? No,
you can just edit it.
Okay.
All right, Sarah. So
okay.
Just a little check-in. How are you doing? Like, what have you been up to?
I've been good. Well, it's officially Taurus season.
Ooh, okay. Birthday season.
What that means? It's a girl's birthday, getting 1 year older, which is always kind of scary for me getting a little bit older.
Okay. I think we're going to dabble on that today, right?
And we're going to talk a little bit about that, too.
Okay.
About specific time periods in our life when we get older.
Okay.
And how that feels.
I'm excited.
But yeah, and for the first time in my life, I'm proud to say that I'm very happy where I'm at.
Oh, nice.
So that's kind of refreshing. So there's that. What about you?
I'm doing actually fantastic. I had a great, month. Mm-hmm. I'm excited about what's to come. The weather's getting warmer.
Very.
I'm getting closer to my health goals and trying to be more determined and consistent with that. So, summertime. Get ready. Mm-hmm. And overall, I really can't complain. Like, one day at a time, the warm weather gives me a lot of energy, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, period. All right, so I kind of mentioned a little bit what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay.
So let's just get straight into it. I feel like there comes a time in every woman's life, or person, right, where you reach, like, a pinnacle moment in aging. And so a lot of the times it's called the midlife crisis, right? Where you're like 50 years old and people buy a motorcycle or a boat or divorce their family and start a new one, whatever. They do something drastic. But I realized that for me, I've had like a quarter life crisis.
Okay.
When I was 25, and I feel like I was freaking out the entire process on my way to 25. And then I feel like that comes with when you're 35, when you're 45. But then there's also when you're 30, when you turn 20 or 21. There's like these specific markers in our life where everybody gets like this same type of angst about where they are, where they're going, and if they are where they're supposed to be or not. And so I feel like, especially since I'm getting older and, growing more and more, I feel like with each age, like with each older age you get, it's like you're supposed to have this by now, or you're supposed to do this or that in the third, but is that really what we should be aspiring to? Is that healthy?
I don't think so. I think that, to be honest, I think that you should have your own goals and your own agendas for your life. Mm-hmm. Yes, a lot of people do look at predominantly what people are doing around that age, so then they try to benchmark themselves. Like, it's like a period of time where, to me, sometimes, like, it has changed for Black people lately with marriages. But me growing up, I don't feel like I've been to that many weddings. I can probably count on one hand how many weddings I have really been, other than me being a flower girl, because I was a cute kid. And they always wanted me to be a flower girl. But other than that, it wasn't because of like people in my age group was getting married because a lot of friends. I feel like within our community, you have a baby shower and people usually blow that up because that's the closest thing they have to a wedding before they really have a wedding. Right. But kind of getting back to what you were saying, I think that, you know what, once you're doing something positive every year and getting closer to your goals, I think it's fine. You don't have to benchmark yourself like, oh, this person got married, this person bought a house at this time, because people do things differently, but you have to be actively progressing forward. Mm-hmm. And just making sure that, you know, you are able to be the best version of yourself.
So do you think that you went through that at all in life? Like, boom, 25. Did you go through a quarter life crisis? Because I feel like I did. I'm going to tell you my experience first, okay. And then you can let me know if you experienced anything like that. So at 25, I was like, I guess 2 years away from graduating from college. And I remember during that college period, I was like freaking out because what is life after college? What would be my first job? And that was such an anxiety-ridden, like stressful, scary time for me, because they make it seem like after college, everything just falls into place. So when I turned 25 and everything didn't like fall into place like how everybody made it seem, it kind of was just like, it was insane. It just felt really scary. And I had friends that were going through the same things too, so we were kind of like all in the same boat. At 25, I know that your life was a little bit different though.
Right, because I had a kid, I had a house.
Child.
So my life was not conventional. I did things a little bit different. Like I graduated high school early. I went into the workforce. I grew within management. I was there for a good period of time. And then later on in life, I went back to school. Mm-hmm. So I would say at 24 years old, I was, like I said, making a decent salary. I owned a house and I had a kid. Wow. So it was quite different from the anxiety that other people may feel. But I definitely know for me, I don't count the in-between years. I just count when I'm 30, 35, 40. Like those, I jump every 5 years. Like literally in between, I literally have to pop out a calendar. Sometimes it's like, oh, how old am I? Oh, wow. Just because I have goals from when I'm 30 to 35, when I'm 35 to 40.
Circling back to what you said. So at 24, you had a kid, you had a house, and you had like a career.
Correct.
That is literally wild to me because it's like, I feel like those are the typical things that a lot of people who were or are 25 or 24 or 23, leaving college, going into the workplace, those are like their main anxieties. And so I feel like when you don't get that, you kind of feel less than. Mm-hmm. You kind of feel like you're not as, I don't know, contributing as much to society or whatever that looks like. So when you accomplish those goals, mentally, were you like, I'm at the mountaintop, or were you just like, okay, what's the next thing?
I never feel like I'm at the mountaintop because I always feel there's always opportunity to grow. What I will say though is, when I was growing up back in my day, if you were a hard worker, you could grow within the ranks. I think because how society has changed, where now you can't even get in a job if you didn't go to college. Back in my day, you could have grown in a job if you weren't in college. Now it's like, okay, great, I have the college degree, which you guys go through, but you don't have the experience. But you can't come on the job until you have 1 to 2 years experience. Exactly. So if you're not smart enough during college to know to take an internship as well as to do your actual degree, you're at a disadvantage, because the kids who did do that, or if they have, parents that could pull them into jobs or stuff of that sort, they have the advantage over you. And I think it's important for people to just really analyze that and, give back to our communities and letting kids know, like, hey, take an internship. Or if you could offer an internship for somebody that can help build their experience for their career path, businesses should do that. A lot of times kids are like, I don't want to do, because I'm not going to be working for free. But you have to understand, you're not working for free. That knowledge that you're gaining, like I was always one when I was younger at work to always want to do everything. And it paid off because that's how I was able to be in management at 24 years old.
Wow.
I feel like things that I achieved at 24 years old, I see some of my classmates are achieving now. And it's just like everybody has a different path.
That's what I'm saying. So like going back, so 24 years old, the things that you're achieving now, people are probably achieving now at your age right now. And so I think that, because that's like amazing to me. I couldn't even imagine. I don't think I was even in the mental space to even have a house or a career or let alone a kid, and still not even the mental capacity to even think about having a child. But like people who do that early, like, do you think that there's like you have to go that way, or what do you say to people who?
No, I think I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced a lot of things that people have because they enjoyed their life. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy life, but I was always like a pretty straightforward, responsible individual. So I didn't really like I wouldn't call out. I would not, like, I understand I was in management. So I remember it was one time I had too much fun. I was trying to be down with the young people, and I was drinking some Grey Goose, and I was doing a stinky leg.
Oh, God.
And I look, and it was a stinky leg, and it was a situation. Oh, and I remember sick and all the next day. I got up and I went to work. I was in the office, not feeling great, really, really bad, like, felt like, oh, I would never do that again. But the reality was, like, I was always responsible. And sometimes, like, I know for my children, I'm always going to teach them, obviously to be responsible, but I want them to be kids. Like, I want them to be able to have that cushion to get what they got to get out of their system. So when they get into a certain age of maturity, I think that's why sometimes we meet some people and they're, like, older, and then they think they're kids. And you're looking at them like, well, why are you acting like this? Like, you're at a certain age, you shouldn't be doing it, but they never got it out of their system.
So they've been working so hard.
So then they have the midlife crisis. Is that, like, a lot of times you'll meet moms who had babies at or young ages, and then their children now come and get babies. And then their children are like, oh, Ma, you're going to be a grandmother. She's like, no, I raised you. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then at first I was like, well, because my mom, she would be there to help and support or whatever. So I was like, these grandmas are so mean. But it was like, no, this girl was like 17, 18, had a kid, raised a whole child. She now then is probably in her 30s, mid-30s. She now wants to start living her life, and now you want to bring a grandchild upon her for you to go and live your life. Yeah. Then if she does that and raise that child for another 18 years, she'll be in her 50s. So where was her lifespan? Like, where did she get to enjoy herself? And I just think that, in life, like I said, everybody has their own path. Once you are actively doing things to be better, actively doing things to grow as a person, I think you're fine. And you can't benchmark yourself from people. You just got to know you're doing your best version of what you could do, and then you'll be good.
That's a good thing to keep in mind. Like, if you do want to get all those successes out of the way earlier, you're sacrificing so much when you're younger, then you kind of have to make up for that when you're older. Rather, if you do that stuff when you're younger, then I guess you can work harder when you're older.
Right.
It's kind of the thing.
Correct.
So, do you feel like there was a year, and it could be this year or whatever, that you felt like, as far as expectations, you didn't reach them?
I'm always a person that I try to be grateful, really.
Yeah.
Through everything that I go through, because I'm telling you, I've been through some dark times. I'm just like figuring out Shayna, dating me, tapping into my true soul. So when anybody comes in my life, I really know who I am. And when I see, I'm going to say like red flags, I'm going to run right away. But if I see something I don't like, I am going to let it be known. Yeah. Let it be known, like, hey, that was concerning. Or, hey, that was off. Yeah. I'm not going to sit like, well, let me not say nothing and sit and wait. Because I'm telling you, what you're seeing in the very beginning and the concerns that you have.
When people show you who they are, believe them.
It is so true. I used to make excuses for people a lot. Or give them passes. Oh, they did this because of that reason. This happened because of that reason. And that is where the no. Don't give people excuses, because at the end of the day, if you did something bad, they're holding you accountable and they're calling you out on it.
That's the truth.
They're holding you accountable and they're calling you out and they're not letting you go. So why are we so forgiving to people by making excuses for them when in reality they're just showing you who they are? And then because you have that good heart or you want to see the greater good in them, why aren't they showing you the greater good? Or why are they taking accountability and then in their actions trying to show you consistently, immediately, that they want to be different? Versus them putting a Band-Aid on it, sweeping it under the rug, and then it coming back to the forefront.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, that kind of touched a little piece of my soul right down in the pocket area, because I feel like that came to play with me so much where I would just forgive people. And when it comes to like me making a mistake or a mess up, then that was not even... it was like, well, you did and you did and you did. And it's like, you been doing some crazy stuff too.
Right. Because it's like you want to give people grace, but are people giving you that same grace?
Yeah.
And I think that that's what you have to ask yourself to say, okay, if I did something inappropriate, because we're not perfect, so nobody's perfect. You're going to do some things that are not correct. But once you bring it to my attention and I take the accountability, then after it needs to end once I don't repeat the behavior. I had a lot of friendships that, people would do things. I'm like, oh, that's their personality. Oh, they're just aggressive. And like, no, because if I'm aggressive, they call me out.
Yes.
Like when I start changing from being like Mrs. Understanding to like, no, I'm gonna give you the same energy. Like,
Shayna, yes, like you are speaking so much facts. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I give you the same energy. What's going on with you? It's like, no, what's going on with me? No, I'm just matching what you gave me.
Right, and then they say that that's petty.
Right.
They say that, why are you doing that? That's not who you are. It's like, no, well, if you treat me this way and I treat you the same way you don't like it, then why are you think it's okay to act like that with me?
Yep, because people take kindness for weakness, and that's the truth.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I didn't think we were gonna be preaching on this episode. God, I am touched. Okay, well, I think that that's just pure factual. Returning to being in your 25s, your 30s, your 35s. For the people who are graduating, heading out into the work field, or feel like they're not where they are right now, just my personal experience and personal advice is like, whatever you do, don't turn it around and make it feel like I'm not worthy enough or good enough or whatever. If you feel like you have room to change and you have room to do better in whatever field that you're going to, do it. If you think that maybe if I don't know, did this internship or, did something unpaid or whatever, and maybe that would make a difference, I would say try it. I would say try everything that you think that you have to try to excel in whatever field that you're trying to go to. If you're trying to hit a specific goal, whether it be to get a house or to reach a management position, I would say it's about your mouthpiece. And sometimes it's about your environment. Sometimes you have to leave where you are to get further ahead. And I learned that very quickly when I moved from New York to Atlanta. Like, I felt very static. Like, I'm a person that had tons of experience and tons of internships underneath my belt. And I kept getting placed in these scenarios where I wasn't getting paid my worth. I was getting paid like well below that and I didn't really feel valued. So sometimes you just have to like get up and leave and go either where the money's at or where the opportunities are at.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, I think also too, like, ideal time is to do it when you don't have children and you don't have a family. Like, capitalize on that opportunity. Yeah. Capitalize on the opportunity that you're just a student. If you have that luxury.
Yeah.
Because I didn't. And you know what? It's extremely important for you to understand, like, use that time wisely. Figure out what you can do. Paid, great. If not, that experience that you're going to gain is going to get you so much more money.
I also say don't be afraid to pivot, because sometimes the field that you are going for or you're heading in, it's like subject to change, right? There's a lot of flexibility and like there's only a certain amount of jobs in whatever area you're going to be in. If it's a very competitive field, of course, there's going to be people that are way higher than you or more interconnected than you or whatever the case may be. Don't be afraid to step sideways and to go in something that is like maybe adjacent of what you're interested in. That's where you are right now, and you can just do whatever you're aiming for in the future or still make those connections in the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that that's where I'm at right now. I kind of sidestepped to do something that not necessarily went to school for, but I'm currently doing, and that's what's gotten me to the place that I am right now. But then also I'm still trying to get that experience in what I originally want to do so that I can reach back forward in that direction, if that makes sense.
No, I definitely agree. I think that I'm kind of too like in a new career path that I have gone down, and how I landed it was because I have so many years of experience in management. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like I dabbled with it within my workplace, but it's more on the administration end, which I was more on the operation end. Mm-hmm. But because I have the years of experience, it's why I got paid. Because they know that this person's able to, like, you get paid for your experience. You get paid to be able to decipher and to go in and to make these decisions and to do these things. You're gonna get paid for that because they don't need that rookie that read it in a book but doesn't know how to apply that to real life.
Right.
So I think too is having that good general understanding of different areas and then compiling that together really makes you a stronger person versus you just are just vetted in one line of work and you're great at it, but with society and technology and all these things that happen, very much so your job could go away. And if that's it, where do you land? Like, if all you did was that and all you know was that, how does that allow you to do something else? But by you, like you said, kind of going on the right or going on the left, and then after at a later date, then jumping back, now you're actually a more of a threat versus somebody who only
went straight and only followed that path. And I had to learn that the hard way. I'm like, no, I want to do this. 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 But doing that wasn't really getting me, not necessarily where I wanted to be, but it was just not, it wasn't heading me in the right direction. Let's play this game where we tell each other or give advice to a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old.
Okay.
And then advice that you would give to yourself now at 35 years old.
Okay.
So look at yourself from like opposite.
Okay.
So let's start at 25.
Okay.
The quarter life crisis. Main piece of advice.
Main piece of advice.
And I think that a lot of people would appreciate this because you don't understand, anxiety is a real thing.
It is. Depression is a real thing as
Depression is a real thing.
It is. I would have to say, okay, if I was to look at myself at 25 or give a 25-year-old advice, capitalize on opportunities that you have not having a family, if you don't have a family at that time. So, pour yourself into your work. See what you want to do. Try different things. So when you get to that age of 30, you're able now to have a little bit better of an understanding or foundation of where do you want to build. That 30 years old, ideally, I would say, like, have that under your belt, have your experience under your belt. At 30 years old, hopefully you'll be more financially stable. You'll be able to start venturing into, and if it happens before that, great, like purchasing home and like, getting a significant other and like be career driven, whatever like is driving you at that time. Because sometimes people tend to want to do everything at one time, which is in their 30s, right? Like they want to find the man, they want to get married, they want to get the house. And when you do everything at one time, it's overwhelming. Yeah. Because you're wearing so many different hats that if you possibly did that in your from 25 to 30, like build your career, then after, let's say in your 30s, you said, okay, hey, I want to find a significant other. I then want to understand them, have them understand me, make sure we're on the same, we're on the same page when it comes to what kind of life we want to live. I think a decent age is 33 for kids. I didn't do it. I swear behind it. I feel like you had a good 3 years with your partner. You guys traveled. You guys have an understanding. You guys kind of know where you want to raise your family. Yeah. You then get into, at 33, start committing. By 33, 35, you then now can just be able to give your kids certain amenities and certain parts of you that you could not offer when you were younger because you were still figuring things out. And then to kind of jump on where I am at 35 years old.
Well, let me do mine first,
sure.
Right? So, because I want to do 25, 30, 35.
Okay. And
then we can say what your expectations are for 40 or advice for 40.
Okay.
So, for me, 25, I would say between the ages of 21, 20 and 25, in that range, literally do everything that scares you. Literally try every single thing that, you're like, no, that's too outrageous. No, that's just weird. If you're interested in it, I would say just do it. During the pandemic, that was, such a blessing and really stressful for everybody, right? But that was such a blessing for me because I did, such random things, for example, to my hair. And that's when I shaved my head, I dyed my hair all types of different colors, I grew it, I braided, I did all these crazy things to my hair that I just, because as a Black girl, hair is such an important thing to us. That is a whole identity is our hair. And so I've had the same type of hair, natural hair, same length for like so long. And I've always wanted to just cut it off, try different things with it. And I never felt so free than during that time where I got to just like play with my hair and see what it likes, see what it doesn't like, see what looks good on me, see what colors I can rock. Like it was so refreshing for me. So even if it's like little things like that, like just doing those certain things that scare you, so that by the time that you are 26, 27, 30, whatever, you can know yourself and know at least that little essential part to like what my hair doesn't like. That's such a huge thing. That's my advice for a 25-year-old. Do all the things that scare you before and during that year so that you don't feel like you're missing out and feel like you're too old to try that later on. So now at 30, I'm scared, Chin. I don't want to turn 30. It's so scary. It's so much responsibility, I feel like, at 30.
Okay. Well, what pressures are you feeling?
I feel like at 30, it's like how you said, that's like fully, I'm an adult. Like now, like I still feel like I'm a young adult, right? And I still have that little bit of space to like make those stupid mistakes, and very much am still growing and trying to accomplish certain goals. But at 30, they make it seem like this is where your career is really pivotal, and this is where, you should be more solidified, and this, that, and the third. And yeah, sure. But it's like, what if that's not the case? Life's hard. And it just kind of makes me nervous because should I be married at 30? Should I be having a house and this and that? And I don't know. What's your advice for somebody that's 30?
My mentality is like I don't like to benchmark myself off of people. Okay. I really don't do that at all. Okay. I just say, hey, what are my goals? Really look in your inner core and be like, okay, when I get to 35, what do I want? So I always do like a 5-year projection. And in that 5-year projection, for me being 30, how do I get there? How do I get there? Like, really, when you are looking to do something, you got to know when to hold on to it and when to let it go. And I think that if you do a 5-year projection, you don't have to know everything in stone, but you can say, I'm looking to achieve this in 5 years. Year 1, how do I get there? Year 2, how do I get to year 3? And hopefully by year 5, you're going to achieve those goals because you are determined to make it happen. So I think the biggest thing is like, don't benchmark yourself from people. Just look at like, hey, what are my goals? How can I meet my goals? What can I listen to help me to get to my goals?
There is a lot of noise. There's so much. I'm 21 with a mansion and 2 Lambos. This is like, and you can do it too. Right. It's like, right. Can I? I feel like there's a lot of, the older that I get, you have to like reprogram and refocus on a lot of stuff. And it gets hard, because you're just like, okay, what do I want? What am I looking for? 5-year plan. I've never been a 5-year plan kind of girl, just because I'm just like thinking, I'm such a go with the flow kind of person. And you're very opposite. You're very like regimented, and I'm like wherever the
right. But you know what? And I'm gonna say this is a good and bad thing. I am trying to adapt that a little bit now by just living in the moment. Like, hey, we're going, hey, let's go and get some drinks after. Like, but I ain't really packed for that. Or I didn't really, that wasn't my intention. Oh, yeah. I need to just, you know what? I'm fine. Let's go. Lately, I have walked in many different avenues that I wasn't sure about. And I was second guessing myself, and to be honest. And I'm doing it. And I'm succeeding. And I'm achieving. And I'm just like, you know what? If I had that fear, which I let fear run me for a while. Yeah. Of not doing new things and try it, fail. At least you tried it. When you didn't try to do it, you're always going to live with that resentment that, like, what if I was to make that decision? What if I was to, like, if you would say, I want to move to Atlanta, but I didn't move to Atlanta. Well, where will you be in? Which now you have so much independence. You have grown so much. You're cooking for yourself. You have your own place. You're maintaining it. You have the do's and don'ts. Like, don't go in the house with no shoes, people. She has the do's and the don'ts of, like, what you like and what you don't like. Which now that's only allowing you to get further in growth. Yeah. Versus just resting on, like, what was safe.
Right. And you know what? And I've been talking to myself very kindly these days and just being like, I'm just so proud of you, Sarah, because like there's so many things that I was so afraid of doing. Like I've always wanted to start a business. I've always wanted to have a podcast. I always wanted to have my own place. I always wanted to move to Atlanta.
But you're doing it, you did
and
all
I'm
four.
doing a lot of the things that I put out in the atmosphere where I just would literally shut down my own thoughts and be like, no, well, how? Well, I'm not sure. And it's really like how you talk to yourself, how you like converse with yourself and speak those dreams with a statement mentality of, no, I'm doing this. I'm getting that. I'm gonna do this. It really makes a difference.
100%. No, it's nothing wrong with competition.
Yeah.
But make sure that you're competing with somebody who's doing way more than what you're doing.
Yeah.
So then when you're pushing yourself to compete with somebody who like is reaching goals beyond the goals that you really want. Yeah. So then it will allow you to get where you want to be because you're not competing with the person that's one level ahead of you. You're competing with the person who's like 5 steps ahead of you. So it's like, and it's just like motivation more than like competing. Sure. It's just more like, you know what? I'm going to get this done. I'm going to figure out how to start this business. I'm going to figure out how to, turn this negative into a positive, and not be like negative Nancy and what's wrong. And that's why for me, I feel like lately I had to not cut a lot of people out of my life, but you wanted to rest on negativity, and I'm not down with that. Like, I don't need you to be rejoicing over something that you're saying you're concerned, but in reality, you're just being nosy. Like, you're not really intentionally there.
Okay, so advice for 30-year-olds is compete with yourself. Compete with somebody who is way above where you're even trying to get to, so that by the time that you get to it, you're above the average of where you're supposed to be.
Correct.
And I think that's helpful. And I'm going to definitely carry that with me for sure.
And be grateful too that God has allowed you to have strength and to live another year and to achieve those things. Like every day I wake up and I think I could be bedridden. I could be like, I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie to you, getting them kids off to school and, trying to like get back and then get to work and to do whatever I'm doing. And then like, I was like, people, can we not just work only, what I would like? I would like to have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. And I won't mind working from Tuesday to Wednesday. I like, in an ideal world, give it to me. And then let me have 4 days off.
In some places, it is like that.
Oh, I know. I'm researching. I'm like, okay, how am I getting there? Go? Yeah, exactly. Because it's just quality of life.
It's so important.
It's so important. And yes, we want nice amenities. And yes, we want nice things. But for me, at 35 years old, what I want is peace. What I want is to create moments with my family. What I want is to be connected to people. And what I want is to be able to be in a place to have freedom.
Okay.
And for me, freedom consists of security.
Yeah.
And just entirely that working together where, you know what, put some great people in a room, give me a charcuterie, a little wine.
That sounds amazing.
And then after, let's have a good time. Like, honestly, I'm really happy at home. And sometimes people can't understand that. And they're like, oh, you never go out. And I'm like, I like my house. I like my $15, $20 bottle of wine that I'm paying a glass. Not even like for a glass, I'm paying that $15.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could have had a whole bottle. So you know what? I was like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a space that I'm happy with, that I want to go outside there and chill all the time. And I'm going to buy my own damn bottle, and I'm going to have it. I was like, I think I give myself the twice a month. Give myself to go out and just have myself like a little good time, or unless a concert or something else like that's different. But to
which we have to get you to a concert for sure, Shayna. Like that's like my.
I know.
That's my goal for you.
I know I'm secretly hoping that if one of them sisters don't come, I'll buy the ticket.
And she's talking about Beyonce. Okay, so I'm just gonna push this in a little bit. So me and my sisters are going to the Beyonce concert in August. That is happening in Atlanta. And I wish Shayna would have told me that she would even be interested in that, because I would have picked up an extra ticket.
I'm not a sister, but it's okay. All is well.
Well, it's gonna be truly.
Well, maybe one of them might get stuck on the plane, and then it might be a little situation, and I could just slide on in, and I'll be like, Drake is actually coming out here.
Yeah, he is coming out here, but his tickets are wild. His tickets are actually insane.
$500 or something like that.
To sit in the nosebleeds, it's like $500.
So then I was like, but I was kind of. I don't know. I'm entertaining it. I'm entertaining it. I'm entertaining it in the fact that, but like, I like comfort. So I gotta figure out like, I don't know what was like. I gotta understand the crowd. I don't know who. Like I think I have an idea who Beyonce will bring out. Beyonce is gonna bring out, women and like whoever have a good time. Well, for me, I might be doing like a soul, like me doing it by myself type of thing.
Okay.
And I just don't want to, end up somewhere that like it's not safe or like, because Drake might. But to me, Drake is a rapper, but he's kind of like a rapper singer.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna get the hardcore.
No,
for
you're gonna
Drake.
get very much. I better find your love. Very
exactly.
So we did 30. You kind of said what you want for 35. So, for 35, hopefully, I didn't even say what I hope for 30, but for 30, I'm hoping that I do follow that advice that you gave, and am projecting that way. For 35, I'm hoping that, at 35, I really hope that I either find, if I don't find like that love, like that partnership that I'm really like hoping that I know that I will get. I know that I will find a partner who is on the same footing as me and looking for that similar thing. I might just have a baby by myself.
Yeah, I think let's not even jump ship. Like kind of taking back from dabbling from what you said. Live in a moment. Appreciate what you have, because I'm telling you, you can get these like health scares. Hopefully, it's a health scare and not like something that took over you. But these things can happen, and it can like change your life. I remember like just a personal story. I was getting married and went to the the GYN, and she felt like a little something in my boob. Literally dress bought. Everybody's coming, whatever. And I remember she felt this lump, and it was horrible. It was on a Friday. Tried to make an appointment, couldn't get nobody to the Monday. It was like it was scary.
Yeah.
And luckily, they got me in, and I was able to be checked out. But I'm telling you, at that very moment, I questioned, do I want to get married?
Oh, wow.
At that very moment. Because I was like, is this unfair to marry somebody knowing you have this disease or this cancer?
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was real. It was really real. And it was like, what does that mean for that person that's marrying you?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean for them that they want to sign up for children, and they sign up for this and they sign up for that?
Yeah.
And then like you may not be able to provide that. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like people, they rest too much. Like a lot of times people think, oh, you have a good heart, you're so forgiving. And it's just like that me holding on to whatever that anger you want me to hold on to, you're going to deal with God. I don't got to deal with him. Because he knows that what my intention was when I was dealing with you. He knows how I gave myself to you. So, like, I don't need to carry that demon because it's so heavy. It's so heavy when you are carrying hatred towards somebody. It's so heavy.
I learned very long ago you have to let that go because it only hurts you.
It like you're waking up and you're like, I'm angry. You're waking up and I'm like, and you're waking up and you're like just towards that person. But I do think it's healthy too to cut a person off.
Yeah.
Because if they keep on bringing that out of you, like, okay, you're just messing with my peace now. Because, like, you're constantly making me contemplate, like, what I need to be doing, which is not my nature. And it's not who I am. So for you to be causing that, it's not cool.
And this might be a little bit personal, but, like, that's what you're talking about, cutting people off. Because I learned that very young, that sometimes you have to remove people, even if they're family members, even if they're close friends. You call this person like your sister, your brother, whatever that person is to you. Sometimes you really do have to let people go because they aren't seeing how their acting is really damaging other people. And you can explain it to them. You can sit down with them. You can have the conversation like, you're hurting me. And the way that you're acting is harmful. And they still don't understand that. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's a really good lesson.
And sometimes too, they're so hurt by what you're doing. So, for instance, somebody broke my trust. Mm-hmm. And because they broke my trust, I didn't even realize it. I'm honestly realizing it now at this age that they hurt me so deeply. And that hurt, in turn, I act different towards them.
Yeah.
And because I act different towards them, I wasn't giving them all of me because of the simple fact that I had a wall up protecting myself. When do you tap out of it? and understand that it's like
it's time to like move back, move away, and cut
like
ties.
Because there's times I walked away from friends.
I'm so bad at doing that
for a period of time. But if you have a true friendship, you will make back.
That's really complicated. I've had friendships where I had to really like cut them off in a real way, or we just like had to separate in a real way, and it is like having like a relationship, like, and like breaking up in a relationship because you guys are just so close. That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, we'll get into it like the next time.
Yeah, the next time. So moving forward for yourself at 40, what do you want to say to her?
We're gonna end it on this note.
Yes.
What I'm gonna say to her: take these 5 years to listen to yourself, learn yourself, understand what you truly desire, create moments that will last a lifetime, because I'm telling you, in my heart, I'm 27. I don't feel nowhere near 35. I'm like, who is that? I became an auntie versus like the young girl. I remember I used to refer to them like, oh yeah, I noticed that I'm the older person now. Like I went out with some spring chickens and they're like, and I'm like, I'm the old bird now, right? Yeah. So just listen to her within these years, and stay true to yourself, because before you know it, you would be in your 50s and in your 70s, because time really goes so fast, and you don't want to look back at life and regret things. I'd rather like gone through it, dealt with it, achieved it, failed at some things, but at least I tried it, versus being 50 and being like, I want to try things. Which I'm not saying 50-year-olds can't do it. I'm just saying listen to that person on that journey. So when you're 50, you really have a great foundation of who you are. Because there are 50s out here that they look amazing. And they're living their best life. They really are.
And they really know themselves like to a T, which
they do. They be like,
insane.
Red flag, stop.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't come in my house.
Like, they don't play.
They're just... Because they're like, okay, I got a couple of more years than me, so I have no time to play any games with you. I just rather be blunt and upfront.
Okay. So...
I like that, blunt and upfront.
Blunt and upfront for sure. I feel like I'm that now, but maybe not as intense. Ooh. But at 35, my real advice is listen to yourself. Don't doubt yourself. And, like, pay attention to what your gut is saying. At 40, my advice is, like, girl, you did it. Like, damn. Like, at 40, I know that I'm going to be doing so amazing because of just how my mind is set up. Like, I know that if I want something for sure, I'm just going to get it. At 40, I already mastered the element of I want it, I get it. That's what you are going to be at 40. And you're going to appreciate every little moment of you being, because I know that at 40, I'm going to probably look, I'm 30 for sure.
Ooh,
because people already tell me now, like, oh my gosh, I thought you were younger than me. I'm like, yes, I'm blessed that way. And I will continue to be blessed that way. So I'm looking forward to just look ageless at every step that I get to.
Nice.
Big purr. Any other closing thoughts, Miss Shayna?
Nope, that's pretty much it for the day. That's kind of what I wanted to get off my chest. And now you always say to me, Shayna, do you have a word of the day? And I want to know, do you have a word of the day?
I do. So as of lately, I've been seeing, because maybe my mindset have changed, or the things that I'm liking have changed, but I've been seeing a lot of inspirational stuff on my feed and in my Explore, and it's really just like been touching me.
Okay.
So this is my little inspo for you guys.
I knew that I could not remain the same and change. You got to grow. You can't hang out with everybody you've been hanging out with to go to the next level. You can't do everything you used to do. If you do that, you'll never grow.
So that is Steve Harvey. He is on what is this, Family Feud. And, you know, Steve Harvey be just dropping some random, like...
nuggets.
Just nuggets out of nowhere. And I saw that clip and I'm like, hell yeah. Like, that is so true. You, like we said, or like I said, and we were talking about, sometimes you have to remove people out your life, leave your environment to grow, to elevate, to get where you want to be.
It's like a snake. it sheds its skin.
Mm.
And it knows it was in that body. But it knows it needs to shed that skin so it can sliver on and do something else. And I really think that people should maybe operate like a snake.
Ooh, move like a snake.
In that way, when shedding skin and starting over new. Not
Don't
being out
be
here.
a snake.
Don't be a snake out here to these people.
Move like a snake.
Okay, that's it. That's it.
Okay, and so yeah, that has been another episode of Women with Intent.
Woo!
And we are so happy that you guys have even listened for this long. Really appreciate you.
Tune in.
Feel free.
Share with others. Feel free to comment.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to leave suggestions of things that you would like us to discuss or tap on. We're all for it. We're here for it. And guys, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Subscribe, like, comment, and we are out.
Woohoo!